I feel so awkward right here, but I needed to do this video. I want to do my well, they're not my everyday palettes anymore. They're basically all my palettes that I have found so far that I am keeping. So I wanted to reorganize this area, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and get this done. So let's go ahead and just do this. I'm very OCD about how I have my shadows organized, but I just want you guys to know I am an eyeshadow palette addict. I love eyeshadow palettes, so this collection will always grow. And will probably have grown by the time this video goes up, and I will have made another video. But anyways, this is the Hard Candy and Marilyn Monroe palette. I love this palette. It's a little limiting, and it's kind of old, and I can honestly see myself decluttering it soon. I have this little custom Jeffree Star 9-pan palette with one ColourPop glitter, and the rest are all the Jeffree Star shadows. Love these little magnetic palettes, I guess is what they're called. One of my favorite palettes ever, this is the Jeffree Star Mini Blood Sugar palette. I recommend this over Big Blood Sugar all the time. This is the Jeffree Star Star Ranch palette.
Hey.
Everybody went crazy over this because they thought there was going to be some pink in it, but there wasn't. Like, I totally would think that there'd be pink in it. I don't know. This is my custom Jeffree Star 28-pan palette. It is not completely full. I need to fill it up a little bit more. I like this. I picked out all of these shadows except for the ColourPop one. I got a lot of these actually in mystery boxes, I mean. Here is the Jeffree Star Mini Orgy palette. It's an all shimmer palette. I got this from Beauty Bay or Beautylish. I got it from one of those. Alright, Jeffree Star Mini Controversy palette. This is the original one. Not my favorite palette in the world, but I have it. LA Colors Peach Fizz. I actually really enjoy this palette. This is a really good fall palette for me before I had such a big giant collection. I actually ended up decluttering Berry Kiss in my first ever declutter. If you guys are curious, that's the sister palette to this palette. Jeffree Star Mini Breaker, one of my favorite palettes. This used to be my favorite colorful palette. I would always dive into this for color. I have the Jeffree Star Weirdo palette. I love this. This actually made it into my 2023 fall palettes because this is a good Halloween palette. Okay, Jeffree Star in the Shane Dawson Mini Controversy. This is the Emerald Edition palette. I really like this green. It's really not bad. Rare Beauty Magnetic Spirit. I'm coming to terms with loving this palette. It's an all shimmer palette. I love this purple and I love this shade here. It's actually not a bad formula either. This is the original Kylie Cosmetics Bronze palette. I do need to throw this away at some point, but not yet. Laura Lee Sleigh Bell palette. Mine is broken. I love the green, so I'll never get rid of this just because I love it so much. Laura Lee's Boss Babe palette. I have Party Animal somewhere. I will eventually find it. Dominique Cosmetics' Unconditional palette. This made it into my top 10. If I lost it, what would I replace? I would definitely replace this. I love this palette. This is the She Glam Holiday Glitzless palette from 2021. I have issues with the fact that I think that there's too many shimmers in this palette and not enough mattes, but I love the packaging and I do love the shimmers on here. They're really good, nice. They're decent quality for the price. Anastasia Soft Glam 2 palette. This is, honestly, it's not a bad palette, but out of all the Anastasia palettes that I own, this one would be the one I would recommend the least. Elf Cookies and Dreams palette. This is actually hilarious. I watched Kelly Strack do a video with this, and I was like, I don't want that palette. But I had cash on me, and I wanted to get some stuff from this collection, and Walmart had just put it out, and I saw this, and I was like, well, I might as well get it, use it in a video, and declutter it, and it's still going strong in my collection. This is the Natasha Denona Star palette. This is the Natasha Denona Star palette. Love this palette. I love that it's divided. It's actually perfect for when I am doing makeup on people. Charlotte Tilbury Instant Eyes Pillow Talk palette. This is the only Charlotte Tilbury palette that I own and probably will be the only Charlotte Tilbury palette that I own. I'm not a fan of Charlotte Tilbury's quality. This was the first Pat McGrath palette I ever purchased. It's the Pat McGrath Bridgerton 1 Diamond of the First Water palette, and I actually really love this. So much memories for me. In case you guys don't know, I live with my parents, and my parents are actually currently dog sitting my brother's dogs, and I went outside to go check on the dogs, and I was like, I can't find the black one. I can't. I really can't. I don't know where he went. My parents said don't worry about it because he has a little leash thingy on it, and I told my brother that them dogs could jump the fence, and he would not believe me. This is the Juvia's Place Warrior 2 palette. I did a Juvia's Place order for Black Friday during their sale because they had like 50% off stuff, and so I'm going to get more of these. Obviously not that exact palette, but you know what I mean. This is ColourPop's Honey. I wanted to get into yellow eyeshadows. This is the best way I think to do it because ColourPop is inexpensive and I love the formula. But for me, I feel like yellow shadows make me look sick. Alright, Anastasia Primrose palette. I love this palette. This is not a bad palette at all for what you have. And one of my shades broke. I think I just broke it. But whatever, it's a great palette. I love it. Alright, next is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Light palette. I talk about this a lot. I love this palette. I think it's great for the value because you get a cream blush, you get a highlight, and you get 5 shadows, and they're actually really good quality. This is the palette I saw Katie Marie here on YouTube loves, and so I'm going to keep trying to love it, but it's the Profusion Desert Sage palette. It's just, like you can see, so messy. I don't like the fact that the shade names aren't on here. It's a very awkward shape, and I don't think it's the best Profusion quality. I was excited because of the shape of it, but, I mean, it is what it is. I'm so sad mine is broken, but it's the Pat McGrath Mothership 1 Subliminal Palette. The packaging is broken. This inside is not. Great quality. I love these special shades. My first ever Mothership from Pat McGrath. I love this blue. I love this shade. I love this shade. I just love this whole palette so much. Alright, Pat McGrath Bridgerton 2. This is the Belle of the Ball palette. I like this, just not as much as the Diamond of the First Water one. I like this gold, and I like this special shade, and I like this shade too, but I just feel like there wasn't enough in this palette, really. ColourPop That's Taupe. This is a perfect palette for people who love cool tones, and this is your staple everyday look. Perfect for you. It's great quality. I love ColourPop. Alright, ColourPop's Clearly in Love palette. This is from the Extra Celestial collection. I was so excited to get this collection. I don't think that the quality in these clear packaging from ColourPop is the absolute best. And I'm going to say that because I've tried all of them, including the mermaid one, the What the Shell or whatever, Opal of My Eye collection. That's what it was. I've already made a list in my phone of where some of these palettes fall for my yearly ranking, and these ones fall very low. Just a heads up. This is Clear the Air. Now, obviously, I'm still trying to love these palettes if they're still in my collection, because I would have decluttered them by now. Like I said, I just don't think that it's a decent quality. I don't like the Super Shock shades in here. I don't like that there's so many shimmers and not enough mattes. I don't like the sequin shades. I think that the sequin shades just ruin the palette for me. This is Coast is Clear. I don't mean to, mine's broken, you can see the shades out of it, but I don't mean to knock if these are your favorite palettes, these are your everyday, you know, staples. This is just personally how I feel and how I do makeup. I mean, look at how my eyeshadow is. Next, I have the Pat McGrath Mothership number 2. This is Sublime. This is what the packaging looks like. Mine's half broken, half not broken. It looks like this. This is not my absolute favorite Mothership, but I do like this green. It's a Christmassy green. It is what it reminds me of, at least. So I do like having this palette just to reach into for that green. I obviously love Pat McGrath products. I'm planning to get Divine Rose 1. It's Mothership 7 from Sephora when I do my Rouge order next year, which I think I'm going to do in February. I don't know. We're going to find out. But anyways, this is the Pat McGrath Rose Decadence palette. Not my absolute favorite palette. These shades just run a little bit deeper, in my opinion, than what you think in the pan. And I don't know. It's just the quality just isn't the absolute best, I don't think. Next is the Makeup Revolution Ultimate Nudes Light palette. I don't like this palette. But every time I watch a Leora video where she's talking about eyeshadow palette, she says that this is the only Makeup Revolution palette that she likes. And it makes me, and I'm like, I hate this palette. And it makes me wonder, like, should I keep trying it? Or should I just declutter it? Because I don't personally like this palette, but I love Leora, and Leora likes it. I don't know, I could just be weird. But anyways, this is the ColourPop Going Coconuts palette, a nice staple in a neutral lover's collection. I do like this palette. I had the Going Coconutty quad. However, this shade, this shade, and this shade, or no, this shade are in the Going Coconut quad. So I didn't need both, so I ended up decluttering it. Natasha Denona Glam Face Dark Palette. I do not like this palette. I think that the formula on this one is good. I do like the cream blush and the highlight. This was just had such an overspray on it, and now it's like it was an orange, and now it's like a chocolate. So I might end up decluttering this at some point and giving it to my mom, which is crazy because it's a Natasha Denona palette. I would never part ways with Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath, but obviously I'm thinking about it. I have already decluttered this collection for my third declutter series. It's just gotten a lot bigger because there was a palette in here I just absolutely hated. So I just went ahead and did a declutter. So I'm not decluttering that anytime soon, although I am going through my other makeup collection and I am decluttering tons and tons and tons of products. So that's why you will see like a roundup series, because like part 1, part 2, part 3, because of that. Alright, this is the ColourPop Secret Admirer palette. This was the Valentine's Day palette for this year. Beautiful. I can see myself decluttering it just because I would have preferred if all the pans were heart-shaped. I would have wanted to keep it a little bit more if all of them were heart-shaped. Alright, I had to just get up and take care of one of the kids. It's not a big deal. Anyways, this is the Pat McGrath Mothership 3 Subversive. This, I was surprised. I didn't think I would like this as much as I do, but I love this palette. I love the regular shades. I love the special shades. I wish that this was a little bit more purple. I love this gold. I really ended up surprising myself by loving this palette so much. I have the She Glam Afterglow palette. This is a dupe for the gold palette from Natasha Denona. I will do a full comparison video of this. If you guys want. No, I'm still planning to do it because I just want to. I like this palette. I do. I just have so many dupes of the gold palette. And you know, since I am trying to love on my collection, I can just see myself getting rid of dupes a lot faster than before. This is the She Glam Glitz Wiz Brick Lane palette. This is a dupe for Metropolis. I don't own Metropolis. I'm gonna pick up Metropolis literally just because I want to dupe for dupe shade this palette, and I want to compare it, so I'm literally just going to pick up Metropolis for that reason. I start putting palettes in the first drawer. I'm so excited. This is the She Glam Adventurous Aries palette. This is my zodiac sign. I am an Aries, and I do like this color short aside from these two shades. I wish that these were more red tone shades because Aries, you think fire sign, so you think warm shades. She Glam's Chromosome palette. This is Velocity. I actually really like these. The packaging reminds me a lot of REM Beauty. I'm not a fan of REM Beauty, which you'll see in my yearly rankings. I actually rank these a lot higher. I think the quality of the shadows is better. I also have the other shade, Time Warp. I like Time Warp a little bit better than Velocity just because I like this shade here. Okay, I have this Alter Ego Luster Charm palette. This is a dupe for the Divine Rose palette, so obviously when I get Divine Rose, I'm going to do a shade for shade comparison dupe. I do like this palette though. Okay, next I have the Alter Ego Artemis palette. This is a dupe for the Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona. Another reason why I wanted to get Metropolis, because look at this. I just don't really find myself reaching for this or that She Glam palette because there's so many shades and I don't think that there is enough mattes, and I just don't feel like I can create a cohesive look, which is why I never was interested in Metropolis. Okay, this is the Alter Ego Aurora palette. I like this palette. I do have a video comparing it shade for shade to the Sunrise palette from Natasha Denona. Will probably be up before this one. Who knows? I have the Alter Ego Canyon palette. It is a dupe for the Bronze palette from Natasha Denona. This is the palette I have on my eyes today, the Alter Ego Blooms palette. I have a video comparing this to the Love palette from Natasha Denona, which might be up before this. Who knows? But yeah. I want to make note that I have the Sahara palette. I just have it over there because I'm using it tomorrow. Okay, I have the Alter Ego Goddess palette, which is a dupe for the Gold palette. I am planning to film a comparison with this between this and the Gold palette, so that will be coming eventually. And I have the Shadow Kiss palette as well from Alter Ego. I'm planning to pick up Harmony in a couple of days, so I will compare that to the Retro palette as well. I have the Fairy Tale from Storybook Cosmetics. This is the Little Red Riding Hood palette. I don't ever want to reach into this, so I can see myself decluttering this eventually. I have the C-Color Cosmetics Golden palette, which is a dupe for the Natasha Denona's Gold palette. I will do a shade for shade comparison video. I also have the Savannah palette, which is a dupe for the Safari palette from Natasha Denona, which you can no longer get. I am planning to do a C-Color Cosmetics order in a couple days. Y'all, I'm hungry, so I think I'm going to order some food after this. Alright, this is the Pat McGrath Mothership 4. This is the Decadence palette. This is an all shimmer palette. It's not my favorite at all because it is an all shimmer palette. But the shimmers in here are higher quality than normal. So I do keep it just to have it in the collection, because I want the whole collection. This is the Folklore Impressionism palette. This is meant to be an impression of the Safari palette from Natasha Denona. I don't like this. I don't like the quality on this. It took forever to get to me. It's so bulky. This is one I will definitely end up decluttering soon. Very low on my list for a yearly ranking. Next is the ColourPop Wild Child palette. This is just really dark, in my opinion. I might end up decluttering this just because every look I get is a very dark, smoky eye. Alright, She Glam's Tenacious Taurus palette. Brandon's sign is Taurus, and I actually do agree with this color story for a Taurus. I like the greens and the pinks and I like it. I took advantage of the Odin's Eye sale for Black Friday, and I ordered every single palette except for one. One had sold out. This is the Hella palette from Odin's Eye. I love, love, love this. I got rid of the one where they had the broken shade. I gave it to a friend who wanted it, who did not care that the shade was broken. But, yeah, I love the quality of these Odin's Eye palettes, and very excited to get more. I have the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 3, the Experience palette. This is another all-shimmer palette, but it's so unique, and it's the only Danessa Myricks palette I have in my collection, so I will never part ways with this. I have the Milani All-Inclusive Light to Medium palette with the 3 shadows and then the face shades. I use this basically everywhere. Like, I think it's meant to dupe the Charlotte's Tilbury one, though. This is the REM Beauty Baby Doll palette. This is the worst palette of the year, in my opinion. I'm still yet to try out the other shades. We'll see where they fall. But I just had such high hopes. Could not get the shimmers to stick. Could not get the mattes to blend. No. Although I shouldn't be surprised because I'm not really a fan of Morphe shadows. And REM Beauty is owned by Morphe's parent company. This is Anastasia's Nobu palette. The best palette from Anastasia, in my opinion. In my opinion. Best palette ever. I love the formula, I love the shades, I just love everything about this palette. I have ColourPop's Set in Stone palette. I do not think if you have any nude palette from ColourPop, neutral palette, you need this. This is meant to do Patrick Ta. The cream shades in here are not like Patrick Ta's, though. I also have Twist of Slate. I will be the first to admit, I don't know how to use the cream shades in here. You don't need this if you have That's Taupe or Stone Cold Fox, which I have both, so I have all 3. But I will be the first to admit, I don't know how to use the cream shades in here. I use it as an eye primer. It creased within 20 seconds. I don't know how to use the cream shades in these palettes. This is Clay It Cool. This is from that Terracotta collection. This is what made me want to get the other ones. I don't know why. I just have that mentality. ColourPop's Nude Moon. This is like everybody's staple go-to, but I'm not the biggest fan of this. Like, you can definitely see I barely used mine. It's very hard to make a nude palette unique, but I do still think companies can make a nude palette unique. This is Blush Crush. I actually prefer Blush Crush a little bit more over Nude Mood. I got this as a set, but these 2 shades are just too similar. This is that collection I was telling you guys about earlier. This is the What the Shell palette. I haven't used this that many times, but I can already tell you, like, this is a lot like Clearly in Love, like the color story and everything. This is the one I was the most excited about. It's Shell Shocked, and you'll see why I was the most excited about it because of the color story. The color story just calls to me, but it's the quality. It's the quality that matters, not the color story. That is something I really think these brands need to remember when they make these collections, is that it is about the quality, not the color story. This is the She Glam Gifted Gemini palette. I hate this palette. I hate it, not because of the quality, but because of the color story. My sister is a Gemini, and this is an all-matte, colorful palette. And my sister would not touch any of these shades, and she is a Gemini. So this just hurts my heart for Geminis. This is the She Glam Glitz Wiz palette. This is the Ecstasy one. This is meant to do a Huda Beauty palette, I believe. I love the packaging on these. That's the only reason I got these. The quality on this is just not really that good, if you want me to be completely honest. But it is what it is. You know, I have it in my collection. I'm still going to try and use it up. I have the ColourPop Lucky Penny palette because I don't know what palette is getting decluttered for me in my next declutter. Mine is broken. It just keeps breaking. It legit keeps breaking. Eventually going to probably have to throw that palette away. This is the She Glam Caring Cancer palette. This is another one that pisses me off because Kai is a Cancer, and this is like a Gemini color story in my opinion. I want baby blue for Cancer. This is ColourPop's Feelin' Bubbly. This is the palette I would pick over Nude Mood and all of them. The pan sizes on here is bigger. I want to get by the Rosé, but I'm going on a no-buy next year, so I don't know when I'm going to do that. But the pan size is bigger. The quality on this is great. This is a custom 12-pan palette I made with ColourPop. I've been getting into that lately. This is the palette I'll fight you over. This is the Huda Beauty Love Fest palette. I love this. I don't know why she makes her 9 pans limited editions. She needs to stop. ColourPop's Sailor Moon palette. I talked about this in my 10 palettes I would repurchase if they disappeared because I love Sailor Moon. Even though I don't like the color story, I love Sailor Moon. Same with this. This is the Avatar collection with the Avatar palette with ColourPop. I would repurchase this. I love Avatar. Avatar was such a big thing for me when I was growing up. ColourPop, It's My Pleasure. I've purchased this 3 times now. So when I find the extra one that I have, because I had noticed I had gotten 2, so I gave it away when I first picked up this palette, when it first came out. So when I find the other one, I'm going to give it away as well in the giveaway. It's She Glam's Lively Leo. My mother is a Leo, and I actually know a kid named Leo. I am not a fan of the glitter in here, but I do like the color story for Leo. Alright, Pat McGrath Mothership number 5 Bronze Seduction. I got this during the last Sephora VIB sale. Love this. One of the higher ranking palettes in my yearly rankings. I'm in the 4th drawer. This makes me sad. This is the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions palette. This is the first one. I got this also during the VIB sale. So happy that I did. Alright, Pat McGrath Mothership number 6. I got this during the VIB sale as well because why not? Not my absolute favorite palette, just color story wise. I wish that this was a better purple, to be honest. I guess that that's one of my problems is that I have expectations for what purple should be like. This is the other one I got during the VIB sale, Patrick Ta's Major Dimension 2 Rose palette. Mine first drawer I broken, and Sephora did replace it, and I gave the broken one to my mom because it was just one broken shade, and she wanted it. I really should have thought it over before taking on more kids. Okay, this is the She Glam Virtuosus Virgo. Do I know a Virgo? I think Hayden and Zayden might be Virgos. I think white for Virgos, not green, but I like the fact that they didn't go crazy. Since I'm with the band, I actually really enjoy these. This is Spice Up Your Life. I might have more somewhere. And Fairy Wings and Magical Things. I have these 3 Hard Candy Look Pro palettes. I have Neutral Eyes. I actually liked these. These weren't too bad when I used them. I have Smoky Eyes and Sassy Eyes. I have the Essence How to Make Nude Eyes palette. I have this Pressed Glitter Beauty Glaze palette. This was a birthday gift a few years ago from my brother when I first got into makeup. So, special memories. This is the Zoeva Caramel Melange, I don't know how to say it, palette. This was a gift from a friend. And mine just popped out. This is the ColourPop Ooh La La palette. This is not the color story. I'm pretty sure these 2 are switched. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I'm so sad. These 4 I'm pretty sure are the same, though. I'm at least making progress with this collection. That's like a goal. I have the Violet Voss Essentials palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm years ago. This is the Pure Festival palette. This is another BoxyCharm palette, but I really like it. Laura Lee Cat's Pajamas. I have Laura Lee's Nudie Patootie. Mine is broken. I've played around with the idea of maybe picking up a new one. This is her Nudie Patootie 2, or Nudie 2. If Laura Lee was sold somewhere else, I would definitely get it from the other website, because her customer service is it's just ass. It sucks. But I like her shadows. I bought Whimsical Nudes, it's just not here yet, so I don't know when it's coming because they haven't even sent me an order confirmation, and that's why I'm saying her customer service sucks. It Cosmetics Naturally Pretty, It Cosmetics Naturally Pretty Romantics, ColourPop You Had Me at Hello, ColourPop's Sweet Talk, ColourPop's, I love ColourPop, can you tell? Good as Gold, Huda Beauty New Nude, Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. I have the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag palette. This is the original. I want to get the facelift one. This shade is called Kai Kai. My son's name is Kai. Like, are you kidding me? I have to support that. I have to rearrange. But I actually like Lunar Beauty. I think that Manny actually puts a lot of time and effort and thought into his collections. I have the original Dominique Latte palette. I have a bunch of Dominique palettes. Hang on. I have the Berries and Cream. I have Celestial Thunder, which I can show you this one because it's not in its unicorn. I have Latte 2, and I have Coral Blossom. I have other Dominique palettes. Just have to find them. I have found 3 of my Anastasia palettes. I have the Norvina, the Sultry, and the Riviera ones. I have Naked Reloaded. I did find my other Naked palettes. They'll be in this collection eventually, but this is Naked Reloaded. I have Jeffree Star Beauty Killer, Jeffree Star Androgyny. I have the original Blood Sugar. I have Thirsty, and I have Alien. And by the way, Kai just came on camera and goes, hi. I have Blue Blood, which I'm thinking about taking out of the unicorn and just having this, because I can't with how bulky everything is. I swear, you guys, I think Jeffree just made everything bulky just because he was like, I'm Jeffree Star, I can. So this is Jawbreaker. This is the original Jawbreaker. My light died. Damn it. It sucks. I have Conspiracy. I have Bloodlust, Remated, and Orgy, also by Jeffree Star. I have Blood Money, Pink Religion, Pricked, Beauty Killer 2. I do have other Jeffree Star palettes literally on the way. My Natasha palettes, I have Sunrise, Love, Retro, Sunset, Leela, Biba, and Gold. Okay, I have from Odin's Eye, I have the Christmas Eve palette and the Merry Christmas palette. I have from W7 the Bronze Queen palette, NYC's Demi Lovato palette. I have a Bobbi Brown Pastel Eye palette, and I have Mad for Matte from e.l.f. And these are the extra ones that have so far survived a declutter. L'Oreal Paradise Enchanted palette, Ace Beauté Vintage Dawn, California Love from ColourPop, Truly Madly Deeply from ColourPop, Wet n Wild's All Natural and Bare Necessity, Nude Awakening, Quartz Center, coming in Latte, Wet n Wild's Nautical Nonsense SpongeBob palette, and then finally the e.l.f. New Classic palette. Okay, so that's it for this video. There are going to be more palettes. I actually have more palettes set out to test out to see if I'm going to keep or not. I actually thought that this video was going to be longer than it was, but I have to go to let my light charge because I have other videos to film, so I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video. And I just want to let you guys know that this video was filmed November 28th, 2022. So this collection has more than likely grown when you're seeing it, this video. So I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video. Bye, y'all.